All right, something insane happened in the FOMC meeting, and we have to talk about it today. Okay, but before we actually continue, I have to go over to the statement to actually go through some of the important pointers that we might want to go through before I actually go with what Jerome Powell dropped during the Q&A session. All right, so first up, we come over to this side, the Federal Reserve press release, yada, yada, yada. Okay, over here, they are talking about how, they decided to raise the target range for the federal funds rate to 4%-ish. Cool. Okay. And then afterwards, they said that, of course, they are trying to get restrictive return inflation to 2% over time. I think that they have been very, very adamant about this whole entire fact. They're very, very committed to this whole stance. And I don't think that this is something that's different as of now. Okay. Afterwards, they actually talked about this, which is will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activities and inflation, and economic financial developments. Okay, so what actually happens in this whole entire sentence is also one of the biggest reasons why the market rallied the moment this statement got dropped. Okay, it's because what the Federal Reserve is actually talking about is that they're taking into account the tightening of all the monetary policy that is going to be coming up. Okay, so for example, if they think that, maybe we have over tightened, maybe we have to just reel it back a little bit, maybe hit a little bit of a pause button on those rate hikes, or even start to cut a little bit of rates. Because how monetary policy works, if you actually watched my expectation video yesterday, how that actually works is because it takes about 6 to 8 to even 12 months for you to actually get a policy to actually take effect, for example. So, for example, if today we were to bring up the whole 75% basis point increment, according to expectation, of course, I don't think that's very hard to predict because it's kind of obvious the whole entire market thinks of it as well. But let's just say today, if we actually go up by 75 basis point, which we actually did, probably only 6 to 8 months or even 12 months later, we start to see the monetary policy that actually happened today take effect then. So this is kind of the whole lagging situation that happens, which is why over here you can see that they are saying the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activities and inflation, economic and financial developments. Afterwards, they talk about how the committee will be prepared to adjust the stance of monetary policy as appropriate if risks emerge that could impair the attainment of the committee's goal. Of course, when they're talking about this, it can go either way. It can go in different spectrum. The first one is, for example, if inflation were to suddenly nosedive down all the way to 4%, of course, this means that they are prepared to adjust the stance to either pause rate or even cut rate. Of course, similarly, we have to go to the other side of the spectrum, which is if inflation suddenly just spike up to 9%, 11%, 12%, something ridiculous like that, they would also have to start to be increasing 100 basis point increment, 125, 150, even 200 basis point increment. Those are all possibilities. Okay, but other than that, in this statement, nothing actually crazy happens, which is why overall in this statement, it was kind of boring. We kind of understand what was happening. And then Jerome Powell came out with the Q&A. All right, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick summary because I don't want to hold you guys for too long either. Okay, right now it's 4 a.m. as well in Singapore. The meeting just ended and I'm already recording this video because I want to keep it fresh in my mind and I want to upload it in the morning for you guys. But anyway, so what Jerome Powell want to do is, of course, staying hawkish. I think that comes without saying. I think that is so far according to his MO since the start of the year. He wants to remain hawkish. He wants to continue to keep on increasing rates and such. However, he also talked about the potential route of how he could possibly go dovish. Okay, but of course, that whole entire potential route of how he can go dovish got set to sleep after Jerome Powell got into some dicey Q&A questions. Okay, so first of all, he talked about how if they were to do an SCP today, for people who are unaware what an SCP is basically a summary of economic projections For example, if they were to do one today, they will say, oh, maybe we are expecting this much inflation by the end of the year, this much inflation by next year, this much inflation by the year after, yada, yada, yada. So they'll do like inflation, federal funds rate, employment, unemployment, a lot of all this so-called economic projections. So SEP. And he talked about how if they were to do an SEP today, there will definitely be revisions to be done. However, those revisions will be done upwards. So, of course, that's completely different from what we expected from the statements, which is, okay, we are thinking that they might be forward-looking, thinking that they might want to start to pause or even cut rates. Not happening. Completely not happening right now. Okay, because he's talking about how revision will be done upwards. Okay, so Fed's fund rate definitely going to be going upwards all the way. We're thinking that, Fed's fund rate was going to be about like 5.5% or even near the 6%. Right now, we are actually going to think that federal funds rate, because right now everything is hypothetical, okay, because no SEP was actually dropped today. People are starting to price in, oh no, maybe the SEP for the funds rate, we're actually projecting for 6% or even 6.5% by the end of the year. And that's going to be very, very concerning. And of course, Jerome Powell also dropped another big bomb, which is saying that, it's too premature right now for us to actually talk about a pause in rate hikes. Okay. And then, of course, he came back to kind of just commit to the whole stance of how he wants to bring inflation down. I think this is a song that we've been hearing for the longest time as it is. We understand that the Federal Reserve want to bring inflation down. And I think that by continuously saying this and emphasizing the fact that they want to bring inflation down, they want to show that they're committed to being hawkish, not dovish. Okay, so they're going to continuously increase rates. Of course, then, someone actually brought up the possibility of slower hikes to happen. However, something that was actually established in this whole entire meeting is that the end, which is the destination, is what we are all worried about, would be a super high FFR, which is the federal funds rate. Because the thing is that even if we were to start to see slower rates happening, it doesn't really matter to us because it's slower rates happening. For example, if you were to see a 50% for the next meeting, a 25% the next meeting, or 25%, 25 basis point for the next meeting all the way till, say, July or so, we're still going to be hitting 6% FFR, okay? The most important thing is when are we actually stopping, when is the peak, and when are we getting out, okay? When are we starting to see when are we starting to see cuts in the rate? When are we starting to see pauses in the rate? Because right now we're definitely in the hiking cycle, and there will definitely be a time where we'll have a cutting cycle. However, right now, this current distance in between hiking and cutting, we don't know how many more cycles are there. So, for example, if they were to continuously give us 25 basis point increment or 50 basis point increment from today all the way to, say, 2023 September, they can just keep on giving us 25 and 50 basis point increment, and we can easily reach 7% by September of next year. So that's why we kind of need the FFR projection to see where the Federal Reserve is actually looking at. So that's kind of what we are worried about. And of course, this was further pushed upon by Jerome Powell, which is, he talked about how the whole tightening process would go, because this kind of gave us a clearer perspective of what Jerome Powell actually had in mind. And I'm kidding not, because this is what I actually had in mind myself. And I think I already kind of expressed my own opinion about this countless of time. Okay, what he says is that he much rather over tighten and then stimulate the economy to overcompensate as compared to what we are going to be going through, which is not over tightening. Maybe we'll see how it goes. Maybe right now we might just throw in a 25 basis point increment instead of 75, kind of back out from the fire a little bit. And like I said before, I think that this is what should happen from the start. We should have just over tightened and then just stimulate the economy after, as compared to what we're doing right now, which is just, not over tightened. We're just worried about economy. We're making sure that labels market is strong enough, then we tighten a little bit and things like that. I think that that's just pulling and just over prolonging this whole entire pain process for everyone. Okay, so right now, which is why I personally thought that the market has already priced that in, but clearly the market has not. And right now, looking at the market, the S&P is down 2.2%. Apple is down almost 4%, currently at down 3.4%, which is kind of crazy. So, like I said, the more tightening to be happening as compared to the pause that we thought that we were having, which is kind of funny because earlier, I think in June or July, a lot of people were talking about how a federal rates pause is going to be happening. And I said, that's BS. That's not going to be happening. It's impossible for a pause to be coming. But of course, let's hope that the CPI for the next 2 coming months is going to be good enough for us to actually let the Federal Reserve think, oh, okay, CPI is starting to actually turn down a little bit. Maybe we start to see some form of a deflationary levels and things like that. Hopefully, that would actually push the Federal Reserve to actually think about maybe not hiking rates up by like 50 basis point increment indefinitely. And hopefully we are able to see some form of a rate cut very soon. Okay, I do want to say that I'm not against any rates cuts. Okay, I personally, let's be honest, the whole entire market wants to see a rate cut. Okay, but the thing is that if a rates cuts were to happen before inflation is tamed, we are just going to see a lot of wage price spiral happening all over the United States, and that's going to spread throughout the whole economy, the macro economy, throughout Asia, throughout Europe, and so on and so forth. Okay, so of course that's very, very important for us to actually get inflation down. So yeah, anyway, that's kindly the summary for what happened in the FOMC meeting. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoy this kind of urgent summary and this kind of videos, please subscribe to my channel and also like this video. Helps me out a lot and makes me know that you guys enjoy my content. Anyway, if that's all, I'll see you guys in the next one. See you. Bye.